I've used myself as a guinea pig. I've seen my body completely change in 3 years. I'm 53, I've got a metabolic age of 36. The stats just say what I've done is the right thing.
This is midlife fitness coach Annie Murray.
She discovered the key to physical health at the age of 50.
I always used to think that being healthy was all about being as thin as I could be. I was always yo-yo dieting, low fat this, low fat that. My body wasn't changing, so I had to try something else.
I've spoken to so many women. They actually say, I do train and I try really hard, but I don't look like I train.
There's a lot of people out there frustrated doing the same exercises for years and not seeing results. You don't have to spend hours in the gym.
There's so much confusing messaging out there. Did you feel like you were doing the right thing?
All the right things, ticking all the right boxes. Now I know to achieve your goals, you just have to...
Hi, I'm Jamie.
And I'm Stacey.
And this is the Body Smart Podcast.
And today we have got our fabulous guest with us, Annie Murray. She's a British personal trainer who's got the message that it is never too old to start your health journey. So if you're kind of on the fence, you're feeling a bit stuck in the rut, you don't really know where to start, then we've got Annie to share her story today and kind of explain how she became a personal trainer later in life. She found a different way of training, a different way of embracing fitness and nutrition, to really inspire people to just get out there and try things, even if you thought maybe you're too old. I don't want to put that in people's minds, but there is that perception, isn't there? Especially for women, that actually you get to a certain age and then you've kind of passed it.
Oh, definitely, yes. Particularly for ladies who enter pre-menopause, and menopause, their energy does dip. But I think getting out there and doing some sort of exercise, really, really helps with all of that. So, doing exercise actually gives you energy. I think, once you start a workout, I don't think anyone's ever just given up after 5 minutes and said, no, that's not working. I'm going to forget that. I'm going to go back on the couch. Yeah. You've just got to get out there and start your workout.
Yeah. So how did you get into fitness? Has it always been a part of your life when you've had peaks and troughs, or tell us about your journey?
So I've always been sort of fit. I've got 2 boys. So when I had my children, I kind of, was very busy with them, so it was very tricky. But I still always used to walk and everything. But then when I moved to Stenning, I just noticed that everyone was running. And I thought, I'm going to start running. So I started running, and then...
And what age was that?
What age was that? Probably, my youngest son now is nearly 18. So that was 18 years ago, yes. So... so I started running, and then it's just developed from there, really. Then I started doing classes and, but I really got into weight training 3 years ago. So, yes, lifting weights, so strength training. Before that, I had a go at, a bit of boxing and circuit training and things like that. But the weight training started 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Yes, and
I think that's a really common story, actually, particularly with starting with running, because it's very accessible. It's especially with small kids, you can get a running buggy, you don't need childcare, you can just go and hit the tarmac.
Yes.
And you don't particularly need to be that skilled.
No.
So that's a great entry point for a lot of people.
Definitely, you can start really slow. You can start with a walk, and then do a walk and a little jog and just take your time and ease into it,
Yeah.
And it's just that feeling after doing any sort of movement that kind of I really enjoyed, and I started to enjoy it. And I think, and that's what just prompted me to want to do more, really.
So where did that sort of start then? Was that like in your teens, 20s? Were you doing a lot of physical activity?
As I said, I've always done exercise. I guess when I was at university, I used to play squash, and I ran a bit. I played tennis. I've done various things throughout my life, yoga, Pilates, so various things. But I guess really I've started really exercising, after I had my youngest son. So that's when I started really getting into it and trying out other stuff. Well, I guess the reason was to sort of lose the baby weight at the time, you know, and try and, tone up. I guess that was the main reason that I got into it. But then I started to fall in love with it and, you know, and then, just saw how beneficial it was, not just for my body, for my mental health as well. It was just making me feel so much better.
I was about to say, what did you particularly find? Like, you started to lose a bit of the baby weight, but then you've kept going.
Yeah.
So what did the why turn to?
Yeah, the why. I mean, that just, I mean, for me, it was just, you know, improving my mental health and making me feel better, you know, and then I'd be running with people, so it's sociable, you know. My friends started running with me, and then it became, just so enjoyable. And buddying up with someone really helps as well.
Really helps,
I think, you know, when you start off doing exercise on your own, it's quite hard, it's quite challenging to motivate yourself. But if you've got a buddy to do that with, then you kind of encourage each other. And, you know, you encourage each other to book a class or do something, you know. And I think that really helps. So I started getting involved with my friends and doing it that way. It was
We
great.
actually had a stat the other day. If you have an accountability buddy or a workout buddy, you're 90 or 95% more likely to reach your goal.
Oh, definitely. Well, you just push each other, don't you?
Yeah.
You know, if one says, "Oh, I'm a bit tired," you know, the other one
You
will
don't
say,
just
"Come
cancel."
on, come on." You know,
Yeah.
you've got to turn up, you know, for that person because they're relying on you as well. So I think that really helps.
Yeah.
It really does.
Actually, that reminds me, before I did my personal training certificate, I was similar. I was like, I really need somebody to just be with me on this. So I got a few neighbours involved. We just used to work out in my garden.
Oh,
and then one
fabulous.
morning, Alexa didn't turn up. I was like, right, girls. So we literally ran to her house and threw stones at her window.
Wake up.
Yeah.
Oh, I bet she felt bad.
But like, that's the kind of friend you need.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. My poor friends, I tell you, they're all involved now. All of
Oh,
them.
fantastic. Yeah.
They all
Yeah.
come to my classes and they're just amazing.
Oh,
and
that's
they
great.
work so hard.
Yeah.
It's kind of just spread. But
There's
it's
such
great.
camaraderie in that, in like that like group suffering. Like, you actually feel like you're closer to people when you go and do hard things together and you do a
it's
hard workout.
fabulous.
Like, you're suffering together in that moment, but then you come out and you've got the endorphin rush and you're glad you've done it. Like, you never
it's
regret a tough
amazing.
workout when you walk out of it. You
No,
you feel
never.
fantastic.
You
Yeah.
just feel great after a workout. And to do it with a buddy, it's
Yeah,
just, you can
even
share
better.
that experience, you know?
Yeah.
It's just, well, it just makes it heaps better as well, you know? Because it is hard to be motivated on your own.
Yeah.
And I think that's where people struggle, you know, joining a gym and then going there on their own. And it's quite challenging. You have to have a level of motivation to get you there. And, you know, so...
Particularly as a beginner, I feel
Yeah,
like
definitely.
the whole idea of going in on your own, figuring everything out, like not really knowing if you're doing it right.
I know.
Whereas in a class, you've got that guidance and you can kind of look at how everyone else is doing it, check yourself against them.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And you're being instructed by someone, so, you know, you're watching someone. So, yeah, that's where classes are really, really good for people who are starting out. I think they're fantastic, or, you know, and for experienced as well. So, and also, you know, if you haven't got someone to buddy up with, join in a class, you know, it's a sociable thing to do. And, you know, you do make friends. It's fantastic. I do a spin class and in my gym, and oh, the people are great, you know. I started going in September, the instructor. We have such a laugh now, and, you know, it's fabulous. We do coffees and, you know, so you make friends, you know. If you haven't got a buddy to go with, to do exercise with, just put yourself forward and go and join a class, because you soon start chatting to people and it's not as scary as you think.
No,
you
and
know.
you start to see the same faces each week, and then people let on and you get chatting. And
Yeah.
you can build, you know, you can have friendships from just doing group classes on a regular basis.
Absolutely. It's
Yeah.
the social aspect as well that's so important.
So important. And we were talking about this on the episode yesterday, weren't we, about how that social connection is missing from so many people's lives now, with working from home or people not living near family, and just everything's on text. And for a lot of people, going to the gym could be that like place you fill up your social cup.
Connection.
Yeah, I've mentioned my mother-in-law a few times on the podcast as well. She's I want to say, I'm not don't want to offend her now. I think she's 75. But she started going to the gym just before lockdown, and she didn't know anybody there before. But now it's her, like, 3-4 times a week, her social meet up as well. So they go to the gym, they all go for a coffee after. She's got some really good friends there. And I think, again, with your message of you're never too old, for her to go and just make a whole bunch of new friends at late 60s, 70s is quite
it's
out
so
there to do.
important.
But
Yeah.
that gives her the environment to do it in, where it feels like these people have got similar mindset to me, like we could have something in common.
Definitely. It's the same with my mother-in-law, actually.
Oh, really?
Yes. And they moved up to a place a few years ago now, and she thought, right, I'm going to join a gym and start doing Pilates, and she's still doing it, and she's in her 80s.
Oh,
Can I
fabulous.
just say that? And she's incredible, and she goes along, didn't know anyone at first of all, and yes, she's made friends. So now she goes along, they go for coffee after, and she's in her 80s.
That's beautiful.
And she looks great.
Yeah. Actually, it's one of those things when you move, I haven't ever really clocked it, but because it's part of what I like to do anyway, that is a thing that I always try and do, even though I like to work out on my own, is put myself out there and go to a yoga class or something
definitely.
to try and like build a bit of a network.
Yes, it's really important. It's not just about the exercise, it's about the social aspect as well.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. We've got a really interesting stat here about like the mental health benefits though, because I think we can all sit here and say it's so good for you to have that connection. But also we know that the physical benefits do have a significant impact on your mental health. And there was a study recently that showed it was 1.5 times more effective than counselling or medication with people with depression and anxiety. Yeah, regular training. And like we all kind of know that in society that it's great for your mental health to exercise. So I found this poll where 6,000 women were asked about it. 77% of them were like, yep, I know it's good for my mental health. And then how many do you think actually worked out once a week?
Oh, probably a lot lower than that.
A third.
Yeah.
Oh, it's sad,
Yeah.
isn't it?
So why do you think it is that we all know this would help us, but we don't do it?
I don't know. It's interesting,
I
isn't it?
feel like I think there can be a lot of like gym intimidation. I think people can be worried about hurting themselves. I know we talk about like motivation, and like some people are just waiting for that motivation to come, but sometimes it never does, and you kind of just have to put yourself, be a bit uncomfortable to begin with. So I think there's many reasons. There's maybe access, whether there's I do believe everyone's got access. If you've got a phone and you've got a living room, there's a place to start in terms of bodyweight workouts. But that can be difficult if you've got kids and you're working from home and you feel like you've not got much time and your living room is covered in kids' toys, and that's the place that you were going to work out. It can make the barriers to working out more difficult. But again, it's like if you're struggling with your mental health and your physical health, you've got to start moving these obstacles out the way to an extent to be able to start. And then the hard part, I think, after that, like a really hard part, is staying consistent. Because especially the things that we're talking about there with like group classes, or you're 95% more likely to, I think it's 95% more likely to do something if you're held accountable to a certain process or person. So that's why group classes and group accountability or coaching or personal training can be so effective in consistency. And I think when you are consistent with something for a long period of time, you have evidence to say, like, this is what I do and I want to do it, because every time I exercise, I feel great. Every time I exercise, it shows me that I can do hard things, and you see that progression, and that feels amazing. And when you kind of go, well, I've got months of doing this now, why would I want to stop that? And it encourages you more to keep going. So
yeah, it's building that up, isn't it? That's the challenge at the beginning.
Yeah, it is. But there are a lot of obstacles in the way for people, but really trying to just, instead of just thinking like, oh, I'm going to exercise for a little bit and see how it goes, I'm going to sign up to personal training for 6 weeks, really trying to make that shift. And it takes time to do this, to just be like we
really
would all
does.
identify as somebody who's a fit person. Like, we regularly exercise, lift weights, and like that's part of our identity of who we are, versus a lot of people don't see that as themselves. And the quicker you can move over to be like, I am a person who's fit, values my health, the easier it becomes, because you just look for the opportunities instead of looking for the ways of going, oh, well, I can't. You almost look for the excuses to an extent.
You do.
Yeah.
And that's why I think it's important to find something at first that you enjoy, you know, and that you can do consistently, you know, because it's all about consistency, you know, getting fit. So that's why it's so important to find something that's enjoyable.
Yeah.
Yes.
I've just started climbing recently, like bouldering, in the climbing
Amazing.
gym only like the past sort of 4 weeks. And it's like loads of my friends go there who I haven't really hung out with in about like the past sort of 10 years, which has been great to catch up with them. But there's so many of them who have never physically exercised.
No.
And they've been doing this for a year. And I just love to see the fact that like these are guys that have never exercised and never been into anything. But for whatever reason, like bouldering, climbing, it's just got them. And they're there 2-3 times a week. And they do some where it's like a strength one where there's harder climbs, more intense on the grip. And they're doing some where they do the easier runs, but they try and get around the whole gym on the easier runs. So it's more of a cardio workout. And I'm like, I just love to see it because I've never seen them be, they've tried to go to the gym in the past and lift weights, not into it. Tried to do cardio and running, not into it. But for whatever reason, like bouldering has got them. And
It's got them.
Yeah, just coming back to finding something that you enjoy.
Absolutely.
It's just hooked them. And it's like the climbs always change and there's a next level of difficulty. So
And that's when you see results, when you start doing things consistently over time. And I think, and also, you know, people want quick results in this world. It's a very fast world that we live in. And I think people get a bit disillusioned and a bit disheartened when they don't see results after, say, 2 months, 3 months. But as we know, it takes a long time to change your body. And, you know, so I think, you know, having that in your head that when you start, it's going to take time to get results and you have to be patient. But it's all about, you know, consistency and giving yourself time and patience, and the results will come.
So I've got to ask you, Annie,
Yes.
because you look fantastic, by the way. Flip, you're making me want to go and hit my biceps even more.
God.
You know, I know you said you've been lifting weights for 3 years.
Yeah,
You know, like
heavy weights.
Yeah, so how has your physique changed from prior to lifting weights to now?
completely
And how long did that
changed.
take you?
Yeah. Well, I built my gym actually. So I was lucky enough to build the gym in my garden. And that's when I got all these dumbbells in and the Olympic bar. And so this was 3 years ago. So then, you know, I was training people and I thought, oh, you know, I've got to do this. I've got to start training myself here and lifting these great heavy weights. They're great. So I started doing progressive load training. So that's when I started. But prior to that, and that's really when I was 50, you know. So prior to that, I was doing circuit training, you know. The heaviest I probably lifted, well, slam balls, you know, slam balls of 8 kilograms, having a good slam with those. Maybe a kettlebell, doing a kettlebell swing, you know, 10 kilograms or something. Dumbbells, probably 4 kilogram dumbbell I was lifting. I never really had access to a 5 kilogram dumbbell. So once I got my dumbbells and my nice big stack up to 20 kilograms and my Olympic bar, I thought, right, hang on here. I'm training everyone. I've got to start this as well. So that's when I started. Yes, 3 years ago.
I think it's really interesting though, because I've got a colleague who I did my personal training course with, and she's very similar. Well, she's a personal trainer, but she lifts really light. And I'm like, but we all know, we're all taught this progressive overload is how you get stronger and build muscle. But I feel like there's still so much messaging out there about, yeah, but you don't really need to if you're a woman. Like I got sent a Women's Health, you know, the Women's Health magazine. Literally yesterday, I took a screen grab to send to you. And it's like, lift light, get lean. And I was like,
Lift light.
not really sure how that works. But there's so much confusing messaging out there, isn't there? So did you feel like before you started doing it more for your clients' benefit almost,
Yes,
that
I
you were
did.
doing the right thing and you were still lifting
Yes.
weight, you were still doing resistance training?
Yes, I was doing resistance training, but I've learnt so much from this journey. I started out, you know, personally for me, then lifting. Obviously, I didn't go from 4 kilograms to lifting a 17.5 kilogram, you know, weight. So it was a progressive load over a period of 3 years, you know, gently increasing the weight, keeping my form. So it's been a real journey to get to the body composition that I'm at today. So, but yes, I guess the message, you know, because I've learned now how beneficial developing that muscle is on not just my physical health, but also my mental health, but my whole body composition. It's having that muscle. My whole health has improved. Prior to 50, I would always be getting chest infections, shingles. I was really not in a healthy way, actually. There was always something wrong. But now my immune system has improved so much. So I think there's a myth about women being afraid of lifting too heavy weights to get bulky, And the thing is, we don't actually produce enough testosterone like men to get that,
10 times.
We
about 10 times less
can't,
than men,
So I mean, I'm 5'3", and I lift quite heavy now. So I do back squats of 55 kilograms. I do bent over rows of 17.5 kilograms. I lift quite heavy weights, but I'm not huge, am I? I'm just...
You look fabulous.
I've got lean muscles.
Yeah.
So I think there's a real myth of for women, they believe that if they start lifting, they're going to suddenly boom, be like the Incredible Hulk. But they're not going to be like that. And you're only going to build lean muscle, and you're going to tone up quicker.
Mm-hmm. And that's what people want, isn't it? They want tone, but what they actually mean is muscle.
Yes, it's muscle. To get that toned look, it's muscle. They have to build muscle.
Yep. Like if we took a picture of your arm right now.
My arm.
That's literally what people want. Because, we have clients come to us and say, I just always wear sleeves that cover my arms because I just hate my arms. Yeah. And actually, if you told them, well, we're going to build muscle on your arms, a lot of them are like, well, I don't want them to get bigger. They're already an area that I dislike. And actually, if we could just take a screen grab of your arm and say, this is what lifting weights will do to your arm.
Oh, my goodness.
That's exactly what people want, actually.
Yeah.
But there's this mismatch between expectation and reality of lifting weights, I think.
Oh, definitely. I've seen my body completely change in 3 years from lifting weights. Absolutely. Before that, I'm doing all these exercises. My body really didn't change much, I'll be honest. So my muscle mass was quite low. And I was always wanting this toned look, and I was just not achieving it through the different exercises I was doing.
Has your weight changed much at all?
My weight? No, I think it stayed pretty much the same.
Yeah.
My weight has stayed the same, but my muscle has increased. My muscle mass has increased. So
and do you
my
feel like your body fat has gone down maybe
my
as
body fat has reduced right down.
Mm-hmm.
So my stats are I'm probably weigh about 50 kilograms. So, and I've got 40 kilograms of muscle mass. So it's I'm quite solid. And I've got a lot of muscle mass for my weight. So, but with that, your metabolism increases, and so I've got I'm 53, I'm 54 on the 1st of June, so I've got a metabolic age of 36, so I'm lucky enough to have access to this wonderful machine at my gym that tells me all this information. So
so what does that mean?
It just means that my body is aging at a younger rate, so my body is at age 36, whereas my chronological age is 53. So,
because normally after age 30, people will lose muscle if they don't train specifically to retain or grow muscle.
Yes.
And so just to explain to the audience, your metabolism is how much energy basically you use each day. And so if you don't do any training and you from 30 to 40, then 40 to 50, the amount of energy your body needs every day is just going to keep going down, which is why a lot of people say, well, as you get older, you put weight on because they eat the same amount, but their body needs less. And so obviously you have worked hard to gain muscle, which is very hungry tissue.
It's always hungry.
Yeah, and
exactly.
So that means actually you need to burn more fuel every day just to exist.
Definitely.
And so you get to eat more, which is a win.
It's great. It's absolutely fabulous. I mean, my friends can't believe how much I eat, to be honest.
Yeah, my friends are the same.
And my husband, It's like, really? I
Yeah.
probably eat more than him.
Yeah.
But that's another whole different story about nutrition as well.
Yeah.
You know, it's really key.
It's
Nutrition is a big thing for me as well.
It's amazing though, like 3 years there of training, weight stayed the same. So it really has
Yeah.
been like a body recomposition. And I've seen that with lots of clients, because we try to have all our clients who are trying to lose fat, get them to build muscle as well. So they'll maximize fat loss, not just sort of weight loss. But I've definitely had clients who've got to sort of their weight goal, and it doesn't happen in like a couple of weeks. It's like a 6-month period where they'll get stronger and their weight doesn't maybe change, might be like a pound or two, but their measurements change, the shape of their
Yes.
legs change, the shape of their arms change. It's just, the timeline is not, maybe with fat loss, you can look at a timeline of like you're losing weight every week or every couple of weeks, versus when you see these like bigger body composition changes, because you're trying to sculpt and pack that muscle on, it's more over like a 3 to 6 month period where you'll see like considerable changes in sort of body composition. That's why, like for yourself, 3 years, but in 3 years, weight stayed the same, but muscle's gone up, fat's gone down, and feeling fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, prior to being 50, I always used to think that being healthy was all about being as thin as I could be, and I think that's the thing that women believe, being skinny is healthy, but it's not. It really isn't. My health now has improved considerably, as I mentioned, and that's through having muscle. And the more muscle you have, the higher your metabolism is, and the quicker it burns energy. So, you burn fat. You burn fat automatically having muscle. It just, you burn more calories. So your
The
metabolism
other
is
great
quicker.
thing with that, like you said, you eat more, you burn more,
Yeah.
you're better nourished.
Oh
because
my gosh, yes.
this is a thing I think that's often missed in the conversation of like weight loss. If you're constantly trying to lose weight in inverted commas and eat 1,200 calories, it's really difficult to get enough nutrition for a human body in 1,200 calories. But if you're also at the same time training, you're active, you've got muscle, you can lose weight on, say, 1,500 calories. And that means you're getting an extra 300 calories of goodness. So when you're saying, I wasn't the healthiest, imagine the extra goodness you were getting every day now because of how much more you can eat. And I think that's a really
Absolutely.
important piece of the puzzle when we're looking at health, weight loss, body changing.
Yes, definitely. Yes, I was always concentrating on less calories before, and trying to, eat low fat this, low fat that. But now, well, in 3 years, what I believe now, it's all about the protein. Protein is so important for building muscle and repairing muscle. So I introduced more of that 3 years ago into my diet. And I'm eating so much more now, but
How
my
much
weight
is-
is the same, So,
Yeah.
but my body composition is different. I've got more muscle.
Yeah. What's your average protein goal, just so people can get a sense of?
So as I said, I weigh roughly 50 kilograms. So I convert that into pounds. So approximately 100 pounds my weight is. So my goal is on a daily basis, my protein intake should be around 100 grams.
Yeah.
So you just, you
Yeah.
match it up. So whatever you weigh in pounds, you try and aim for 100 grams, in grams, your body
Yeah.
weight in grams. But that's your ideal body weight. So for me, I don't want to lose any weight, so that's I am what I am. So yeah, that's maintenance. So 100 grams.
Yeah, we go off similar, because we have ranges, so we try and go off like a lean body mass. So like, if you were to have like someone who's like 250 pounds, maybe 250 grams of protein is going to be really difficult to eat. So we'll look at like
it's a
what their
lot.
estimated body fat percentage is, and then remove that and give them like their lean body mass. So they could be on, say, like if they were 250 pounds, it might be 130, 40 grams. But like that number can actually stay quite consistent even as they're losing weight, because as you said, that's maybe more, it's actually a good way of looking at it, more their ideal weight that they're trying to get down to if they're looking to lose, say like 100 pounds. But yeah, protein is fantastic, and it's obviously very much needed, and there's a big hype around it now.
Massive,
Which
yeah.
definitely in the UK and in America, more so probably in America for a longer period of time. It's very interesting when you go to other European countries. If you go to Amsterdam or Italy, you realise when you walk in the shops, that it's obviously not as a big of a thing there because there's no protein bars, there's no protein shakes in the in the fridges and stuff. Whether they're having the same sort of issues or same sort of or training lifestyles as us, but it's definitely, you know, when you probably look at like the typical woman's diet, it's normally like high fat, high carb, high sugar, low to minimal protein. And just by making some simple dietary changes and getting more protein in your diet, it makes not just a big difference in terms of how you recover from your workouts and how you look and feel, but it's just you just feel better. You have more energy. You're not having these huge spikes in blood sugar all the time.
And crashes.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, I make sure that I eat protein for breakfast, lunch and dinner, you know, and I get my protein from, you know, lean protein sources like chicken, turkey. I eat beef, you know, fish. I have nuts, I have quinoa. So, you know, lots of protein with essential amino acids. So the 9 amino acids that you need. So for your body to exist. So, you know, protein is so important and it keeps you fuller for longer, keeps your blood sugar balanced, helps repair muscle, you know. It's just so important, protein.
Absolutely.
Really
I think
is.
it's really important as well for people to realise that it doesn't have to be protein shakes, because you didn't mention that once there.
No,
So
I
do you find most days you can hit your 100 grams with real food in inverted commas?
Yeah, I think it's quite, you know, you have to, it's all about practice really and understanding how much protein is in certain foods. So I always start my day with like 150 grams of yogurt, you know, so that's high protein. I have like some nuts in there, so there's some more protein in there. I have berries. And then I have some eggs, so I can have 2 boiled eggs. So if I can't eat them for breakfast, I haven't got time, then I'll have them for a snack. So I'll have 2 boiled eggs. They're great snacks. Eggs are the multivitamins of your health. I mean,
Don't have to convince this guy.
I bet you eat a lot of eggs,
Yeah.
Oh, gosh, we go for about 24 eggs every few days in my house. It's crazy. We need to get some chickens. But eggs are just incredible source of protein. They've got so many nutrients in them.
And the yolk is where all the nutrients and the healthy fats are. So no, definitely, it's very few things I would say are classed as like a superfood. But
It is a superfood.
Eggs are definitely one of them. Yeah.
And they're reasonably, you know,
It's a
not
great price source of
expensive.
protein.
So you know, that's a great source of protein. You know, I love. So then lunchtime I normally have a big salad. I have pui lentils in there or quinoa, you know, big leafy salad, non-starchy veg, loads. You know, I eat loads. And then I have my protein source in there as well. So I can have a whole can of tuna. And if I haven't eaten my eggs for breakfast, I had them in there. You know, I just, I'm always
got a vision of you just with eggs in your pocket at all times, ready to go.
I know. Or when I drove up yesterday, you know, and I stopped off at the service station, it's so pleasing to see that there's some healthy food in the shops there now, because, you know, I went into one and there they are. There's a couple of boiled eggs.
Yes, I had some yesterday.
Some spinach, and I just think, oh my goodness, I love it.
Yeah.
So my lunch yesterday, 2 boiled eggs with some spinach, and then I got a packet of hummus. You know, chickpeas are amazing, so good for you, with some carrot sticks, and then I had a pack of turkey. You know, and that was great.
Really
There's
satiating, really
everything
filling,
in
and it
there.
takes a considerable time to eat as well.
Yeah.
I was full.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah, really full.
I think it's great to say that though, because I think sometimes when people look at living a healthier lifestyle, it feels to an extent like it's less. But you know, everything, I'm picturing all the food that you're saying there, and it's big volumes of food. It's more. It's how
It's
can I add?
more.
It's more. Adding more
Oh my
food in, more
goodness.
food in.
So I've got a client who started with me 2 weeks ago, and she was all about low fat this and struggling with her weight. You know, she's in menopause, you know, she's gained weight. She's just really frustrated, you know, with not seeing any results, exercising all the time. Anyway, so yeah, a couple of weeks in, I basically told her to change her diet, you know, and she's eating more now. She's eating more. She can't believe she's eating more than she did, but she's eating the right food, upped her protein, you know, getting her veggies in, her good carbs, whole grains, you know, all essential fats, you know, like avocado, nuts. She's eating so much more, and she's lost 4 pounds.
That's
So-
after so long of trying as well. That means
So
so
many
much,
years.
doesn't it?
It really does.
Yeah.
I just can't believe. I'm so happy for her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it sounds like you had a similar experience yourself, so you really know how that feels, where you were working out all the time, but you were just trying to be skinny, in your words.
Yes.
Like, how did that kind of feel to just be doing all this work but not getting anywhere?
It's so frustrating. You know, it's so frustrating when you invest so much time exercising. You know, it not only costs money if you're doing classes and joining a gym, it costs time, you know. And it's frustrating. And I bet there's a lot of people out there frustrated. They've been doing the same exercises for years, you know, the same routines, and not seeing results. But
Would you say you also felt you were eating healthily?
Yes, I thought I was eating healthily.
So you felt like you're doing all the right
Definitely.
things?
All the right things, ticking all the right boxes. But I've learnt now in the last 3 years on this little journey, because the main aim for that, because I've used myself as a guinea pig, basically, because what I don't want to do is preach and not understand really and know 100% that it doesn't work. You know, I need to know that it works. So I've used myself as a guinea pig in these 3 years. So I've changed the way I work out, and I've changed my nutrition. Now, the stats just say, you know, that what I've done is the right thing. So I wanted to learn to train smart and eat smart. That's my
that
motto.
rings a bell with us at Body
I know,
Smart.
smart. I know, I was thinking that.
Yeah.
So, and I think in those 3 years, now I know. And you know what? You don't have to spend hours in the gym, you know, to achieve that, to achieve your goals. You just have to learn how to eat right and train right. And yes, it's about weight training.
Yeah.
It's about strength training, lifting those weights, you know, and doing it progressively over time. But getting the right nutrition in.
Ever wondered why losing weight seems so hard after you hit 30? You're not alone. At Body Smart, we specialise in helping women like you over the age of 30 to lose 30 to 60 pounds in less than 6 months, guaranteed. And that's without restrictive diets or endless hours in the gym. Our approach works because it's delivered through customised, direct, one-on-one coaching. Your coach will tailor a fully personalised plan that fits into your life, focusing on sustainable habits, not temporary fixes. On average, our clients lose 5 to 10 pounds a month, and that's not an outlier. That's what you can expect to achieve month in, month out. And yes, these results are guaranteed. Ready to see for yourself? Visit bodysmartfitness.com to apply. Remember, we're here exclusively for women over 30 who are serious about taking charge of their health. Apply at bodysmartfitness.com.
So what does your typical training week look like now?
My training week.
Yeah.
So I do strength training 3 times a week.
Okay.
So
And how's that split out?
I don't. Do you know what? I don't do a split
You just do,
because
full body?
time is very precious to me, and I'm very busy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, with my family and also training clients and doing classes. So I haven't got time to do a split over 3 days, 5 days, 6 days, whatever. So I train full body.
Fantastic.
But I do train, split sets. So I do upper body, and then I work,
A lower
lower
body
body
straight
straight
after?
Oh, like a
after.
superset.
Like
I
back
do
to
a
back?
superset, yes.
Yeah.
I do a superset with 2 exercises. So I'll
You fit
train.
right in over here.
Yeah, that's how I love to train.
But
Yeah.
it just saves time, you know.
does.
So I'm not sitting there, you know, waiting, you know, to recover before I do the next,
Yeah.
you know, set. I'm actually, so I
It
go
acts
from
as
an
a
upper body
cardio workout
straight
too.
to a lower body.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I do work out hard, as people, you know,
I
probably
think
watch
that's
me
important
in the gym, but
to
I
say,
do.
yeah, because I think there's a perception, especially if you've been to a gym and you've sat and watched the guys in the weight section doing traditional kind of bodybuilding, there is a perception of there's a lot of sitting around, but it doesn't
Yeah.
have to be done that way.
No. I never sit around. If anyone watches me in the gym, my goodness, I'm never sitting around. So I do 4 supersets, basically. So
And do 8
upper body,
exercises.
lower body. Yeah, so I warm up for 5 minutes on the road, do a bit of dynamic stretch, and then I go into my sets. So I do an upper body and a lower body supersets, and I do those for 4, and then I do another superset at the end for glute work, which I've been trying to grow my glutes recently. So that's another. So I do 5 supersets in my workout.
And how long would that take?
On the same page,
How
yeah.
long does that take? So, well, if I'm not filming myself for Instagram,
Oh God. Yeah.
which takes forever, and I'm always dropping my phone, and I'm trying to balance it on a kettlebell or something.
Have to get you a tripod. Yeah.
You won't believe what goes on.
Yeah.
It's hilarious. So when I'm not doing that, I probably take, probably about 45 minutes, probably a bit more than that, 45 minutes to between 45 minutes and an hour.
Fantastic. Yeah.
So that's actually very doable for most people to fit in. And I think that's really important to emphasize 3 sessions of 45 minutes to an hour can give you these results.
Oh my God, yes. I've never done more than that. I've done 3. Yes, I've done 3. Yeah.
That's pretty
3
similar.
days
I only
doing
actually
that,
go to
3
the gym
sessions.
twice a week these days with my son because you know what it's like with the little ones. And I had a baseline, so it's more like maintaining my composition rather than changing. But it actually really surprised me that 2 was enough. So I think there is a perception out there, like you said, of you need to have a bro split and do upper body days and lower body days and 5 days a week, but it isn't the case.
No, not at all. No, I do, full body 3 times a week.
Yeah.
I mean, you can do the split if you've got time, but I just haven't got the time. I do train strength and cardio on separate days, though, so I don't combine it. Otherwise, I'd be in the gym for about 2 hours. But also, it's important to, I think, split those out. So I then do cardio as well 2 or 3 times a week. So
What sort of thing would you do? Would you still run?
No, I don't run. Oh, saying that, I do a treadmill workout. I've just started doing that. I like changing it up a bit. So so I've just started a treadmill workout. So I start off with a 3-minute warm-up walk and then 10 minutes run, 10-minute uphill power walk, and then I repeat that, and then a 2-minute cool down walk. So
again, that's
a
really
45
accessible,
minute.
isn't it? Because that's a lot of walking, and you can just add very small runs and then build them over time. So that's somebody, even a beginner, could access that.
Definitely, and you can do that outside. You don't have to do that on a treadmill. You can do that on the flat, you could just walk fast, a power walk,
Yeah.
You can do it on the flat, or you can add some hills in, it's free. You can do that. And if you haven't got 45 minutes, do 20 minutes, make it work for you. That's the key, what works for you.
Yeah, I think that it's 3 20-minute workouts a week is always going to be better than no.
Oh my
So
God,
workouts per week.
anything.
Yeah.
And coming back, I think there's a huge push online around all the different splits, and this word optimal gets thrown around all the time. And definitely for people who are chronic perfectionists, they want to, if I'm not going to do it right, then what's the point? If I'm going to do it right, I need to do the most optimal split to see the best results in the shortest space of time. Versus when I first started training when I was about 15, I done full body training 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, and I seen incredible results. I put more muscle on in that first year than I like you do with newbie gains, but doing full body training, same exercises 5 days a week, and it's fantastic. Full body training, I actually think is massively underrated.
Yeah.
A lot of people are always looking for the upper body split, lower body split, glute split, push pull legs, chest, whatever it wants to be. Full body training I think is really underrated, especially for people who do struggle sometimes with the consistency element.
Definitely.
So from a recovery standpoint, if you're doing full body training, 2 or 3 times a week, and then you happen to go 5-6 days before you get your next workout in, that's not too bad because your last session was 5 days ago. But if you do splits where you do upper body, lower body, and then you have 5 or 6 days, and your last lower body session was 8 days ago, 9 days ago, you're going to be sore again, and you're not going to recover.
Yes.
So then all of a sudden you're just constantly associating the gym with stiffness and soreness versus the full body
And
sessions.
a battle.
Yeah,
as well.
versus the full body sessions, after a couple of weeks of training, I don't know if it is for you, but the soreness goes. You shouldn't be getting
definitely.
sore all the time after your training.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah. I think it's a great way. I mean, it just works for me, and I look around the gym and lots of people, I just think they're sitting there and they're sitting there for ages, before doing the next set. And I think, oh dear, I haven't got time. I'd rather be doing it. Because I like moving. I really love exercise. And it's time element for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, the full body workout 3 times a week. what works for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, and don't overcomplicate it. I think, you know, a lot of people think they should be doing so many different exercises, this and that and that and this. It's so confusing, isn't it? I think there's so much confusion out there. You know, I have been doing the same exercises for 3 years. I haven't changed
Please share.
anything.
What, so could you walk us through what those 10 exercises are?
Yeah, so what I do, got me now, I'm trying to think. So I do a back squat. So what do I start off with? Start off with, a back squat and, a bench press.
Yeah.
So I do bench press. And then I might do a goblet squat.
Yeah.
So I might do a goblet squat. Or lately I've been doing leg extensions. So... Or also I do, instead of that one, I do a kind of a squat then into a deadlift with a kettlebell. So sometimes I change that one.
Yeah.
But it's based
exercise
around
up.
a squat type.
But it's a lower body. It's based around a squat, yes, and a bench press. And then my second one is a back squat with a row.
Single arm row. Yeah.
So I do a row.
Fantastic. Yeah.
And then the next one is an RDL.
It's a Romanian deadlift.
Yeah, Romanian deadlift.
Yeah.
So and these are all with the Olympic bar, by the way. So the bench press, the Olympic bar, the back squat is with the Olympic bar, and the RDL is with the Olympic bar. So then I do the RDL, and then I do some bicep curls, and I literally do the curls. I do 20 reps of those, alternate curls. So. And then after that, I do split squats. So, I do.
Well, love them or hate them.
Oh,
It's a love-hate
so,
relationship.
I know, but I actually love them. I used to hate them.
I love them
but I
too.
love them, and everyone thinks I'm crazy because they are so painful. But
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 they are so effective.
Oh my
I feel
goodness,
like
I think they're
I can
amazing.
actually target. I can feel it working.
yeah, oh yes,
I like
love
that
that sensation.
You want to know that you're
Mad, isn't
actually
it?
doing something worthwhile, right? I
Oh.
hate doing an exercise and feeling like, this isn't really
Definitely.
challenging me, or like I don't feel like it's getting the right muscles.
No.
Whereas that, it hits the spot.
It targets it right there, doesn't it? So I do a unilateral move basically on my lower body. So it's a split squat.
So just for anybody listening that doesn't know what that is, you might know it as a lunge, like a
a
stationary
lunge.
lunge.
So you're working
Yeah.
one leg at a time. A unilateral move is working one. In this case, one leg at a time. So I either do the split squat, but lately I've changed the split squat over to a reverse lunge, a deficit. So I'm actually standing on something
Oh, yeah, definitely.
with the Olympic bar, which I'm quite enjoying that. But again, it's another lunge. Yeah, so it's just another different version of a lunge, but I'm quite enjoying that at the moment. It's just quite painful.
It is.
I love it. So I like mixing the lunges up. But yeah, it's either a split squat or a lunge, reverse lunge.
Any shoulder pressing?
Sometimes I do the Arnold presses. Yeah. So sometimes I add those in. But the next set I do then, so with the lunge, I pair that with a tricep exercise. So I love working my triceps.
But you've got great triceps.
They are one of my favourite muscles. It's so ridiculous. I think everyone must have a favourite. Have you got a favourite muscle?
But probably my
Just
legs.
weird.
Yeah, because like on my legs, I've got my body fat is like the top of my hands. It's the genetic. Like my mum's got no fat on her legs either. So my legs are just muscle.
Is this as in your favourite
Amazing.
muscle, as in the one that you like the look of the most, or the one you like working the most?
Well, both. I mean, as a result, it looks better because you keep working it, don't you? But I mean, it's a byproduct. But I just think I love working my triceps because it's such a great muscle to work.
And sometimes when you can feel the muscle work on more,
Yeah.
you do tend to have favourite exercises.
Yeah, I
and
think
muscle
you
groups.
do.
Yeah.
So I do lots of variations of those. So I do an overhead press,
Yeah.
on the pulley bar. I like that one. But then also the straight bar push down on the pulley, or the rope pull down as well. So I
fantastic.
like doing that. But then I like doing a bent over tricep extension, working your arms, your unilateral move. So So I pair my tricep exercise with my lunge. So then I do that.
Oh, fantastic.
And then I do my glutes. So I do a sumo sort of deadlift with a really heavy dumbbell. And then I pair that up with a bridge lift with the same weight, actually. So I get onto the floor and at the moment I do doing frog pumps.
Yeah.
Which are pretty hideous.
Yeah.
So you put your palms of your feet together and you put the weight on your hips and you bring it up. So I'm doing 25 pulse. I like to do the glute work. I like to do pulses on. So 25 of those and then hold it for 10 seconds. And then I do, the sumo deadlift. So with the same weight, and I do about 15 of those.
Yeah. So there's a concept, and people think it's, exercise and should be more complicated than this. It's called the Big Six. It's basically 6 exercises that make up pretty much all exercises. And if you do a variation of one of them and do all 6, you train your whole body, which is basically what you've just gone through.
Yeah.
So it's an overhead press to an extent, or a horizontal press, which would be like a bench press. So it's one of them two, that's your shoulders and your chest. Then it's a vertical pull down, which would be like a lat pull down or a pull up, and then like a horizontal pull, so it would be like a dumbbell row, like you've said.
Yes.
Yeah, and then it's a hip hinge, which would be like an RDL or a deadlift that you've just done, and then a leg press, which would be the squat or the split squat or lunge. And if you just basically do those 6 movements, you train your whole body under resistance.
Definitely.
Which is, when you look at it like that, it's like 6 movements.
Yeah, I know.
And you've incorporated all 6 of those movements in those 10 exercises that you do.
Yeah. Well, every good workout should have a push and a pull, and a squat, a deadlift, and a hinge. Sorry, the deadlift is a hinge or a unilateral movement like a lunge. Yeah.
And you didn't mention any core stuff there.
So my core, I do like a HIIT class once a week, a dumbbell HIIT class. So I do work my core in that class as well.
As teaching it?
Yes. Yeah. So I teach it and I work my core. But, the thing is with weight training, you engage in your core with all of that work anyway. So I don't add
particularly
that
with the bar.
Oh, definitely. You people are not aware of that. But doing the weights, you're engaging your core. So you're using it anyway, regardless. So
I think that's a really important message if somebody's listening and thinks, I really want to tone up. I really want to, like losing tummy fat is a big thing that people want when they come to us. And we'll give them their workouts. They're like, where's the ab exercises? And they're often surprised that you don't actually need to. And actually, it's really poor use of your time because it's only going to target that tiny little muscle, which isn't going to burn very many calories. It's not going to build you more hungry, lean mass. And it's not going to do much else for the rest of your body. Whereas doing that full body training, especially with a bar or some weights where you're having to resist like the wobble all the time. So your core is working in every exercise you listed pretty much.
Yes, it really is. And I think, people think that if they do loads of core exercises, they're going to automatically see this wonderful 6-pack. But as we all know, it's all about a calorie deficit, to be honest, because, you have a core, everyone's got those core muscles, but to see it and reveal it, that's done in the kitchen. So you have to be in a calorie deficit to actually reveal that and lose the weight in order to see the muscles of your core.
Yeah. So should we talk about food?
Because I'm always hungry.
So have you tracked your food in this journey? Because I know you said before, there was that goal to lose weight initially with baby weight. Did you track your food then, or did you do diets?
No. Oh gosh, before my 50s, yes. I was always yo-yo dieting. It would always be something. I've tried so many different, like celery soup for a while, and then, and then cutting out carbs, no carbs. My goodness me. My weight went right down, but I was losing muscle. I was just so skinny. It was awful. So, I just, like every woman, they can be quite obsessed by their weight, can't you? It's just awful. But, not to agree not to a level where I was completely obsessed, but I was always quite conscious of trying to keep my weight down and be a skinny version of myself, and then when I reached 50, I thought, do you know what, I need to get strong. Yeah, I need to get strong rather than concentrate on being skinny. So
that's quite a big shift. Was there something that happened?
Well, I just thought this just isn't working. All these diets and stuff that I tried, low fat this, low fat that, cutting calories and it just, my body wasn't changing. So I had to try something else. So, yeah, it was a big shift, and I just had to have a go at something else. So that's when I did lots of research and reading, but obviously qualifying as a personal trainer helped. So, you know, and then I thought, yeah, I'm not fueling my body properly. Yeah, I'm just not. So, you know, not only to complement my training that I'd started, but also just, you know, giving it the right nutrition. So, you know, as I said before, I was always poorly and stuff. So, yeah, so I needed to do something.
It's a big one. I think I've spoken to so many women. It's like they actually say, I do train regularly, but I don't look like I train. Like I go to loads of classes, do loads of cardio. Like I'm really active and I try really hard, but I don't look how I want to look and how I want to feel. And I think it is that, you know, doing a lot of these classes that maybe aren't putting your body under that much resistance. You know, you kind of get, maybe it's hard in the beginning when you get more comfortable with the weight that you're lifting in that class, and you maybe aren't challenged to push a little bit further. And then you're doing a lot of cardio on top of that, and, you know, trying to always cut calories versus a lot of what we've just been saying about is actually like, how can you lift more weights? How can you lift heavier weights? How can you progressively overload the muscle? And how can you eat more calories and more food to nourish your body?
Yeah, it's fantastic. You know, that's the wonderful thing about lifting weights and progressing with your weight, because, you know, the weight on the bar and how much you lift, it's because you get to eat more. It's a wonderful byproduct. But, you know, but you're nourishing your body properly with the right nutrition as well. So over 3 years, I've really learned how to eat and fuel my body. I'm not concentrating now on, you know, trying to lose weight, and that's not my goal. My goal is to fuel my body with the right nutrition, so I feel good, I feel healthy, and my body composition is healthy inside and out. That's what drives me now. So every time I look at a piece of food, I just think, well, you know, what's that going to do for me? You know, that's going to fuel me. That's nutrition. That's what my body needs.
I love a phrase that I saw on your Instagram the other day of you unprocessed your diet.
Oh, I did.
Can you explain what that means?
Well, I mean, I gave up alcohol. It will be 6 years this December. I started with that, and that's a whole different story because, well, I thought I was going mad because, you know, when I was happily drinking up to that point, and then, you know, and then suddenly I started to suffer from anxiety, you know, from a night out and stuff like that, but which was really horrendous, you know, I'd have panic attacks. I thought, what on earth's going on? So, but what I didn't know, I was going through perimenopause, and because there wasn't that much about it at the time written, so I wasn't aware of that. But anyway, I thought, right, my body can't process it, you know, but I strongly believe actually your body can't process it. When you go into the menopause and premenopause, like your body changes so much. So I thought, right, I'm going to give up. I'm going to stop. So I stopped drinking. And then when I reached 50, I decided, it was in lockdown, and with my lovely members, all my classes and stuff, we've got a WhatsApp group, and I said, you know what, I'm going to give up sugar for a month. Anyone up for it? Because we're all sitting around not doing much. So, and then lots of people said, yes, I'll give it a go. So anyway, so I started this separate WhatsApp group with my group, and we started, we stopped eating sugar. But
all sugar or processed sugar, or how do you define that?
Processed sugar.
So you'd still have fruit?
Oh yes, natural sugar's fine in fruit, yeah, and you know you get sugar in milk, lactose as well, so in dairy, but yeah, so that's fine. But everything else, I just stopped. So, but I thought it was just cakes and biscuits and stuff like that. But oh my goodness, once I started reading, because I love researching all these things. So, oh my goodness, and then I realised there are about 56 different names for sugar, and they're on label. You know, they're in food. They're in so many different processed foods. They're hidden with so many different names, like corn syrup and date syrup and maltodextrin and so many names. It's quite frightening. So I wasn't aware that I was actually eating so much sugar in my diet that I wasn't aware of. You know, I thought it was just cakes and biscuits, but no, it wasn't.
Yeah.
So in order to really do it properly, I had to start reading all the food labels and understand where all these hidden sugars are in food, in jars and processed food. So so I stopped eating all of that.
And is that have you still kept that up? Because
Yeah,
I have a sugar in my coffee. I think like I have lattes, but obviously like there's a lot of sugar in the milk, but obviously not too much. I will still put one sugar in it, and then probably the other main things that I maybe have what I've got sugar in, probably ice cream. Probably have like an ice cream a day at night, which I'm not fully advocating to do that. But I recently just got we had a cardio. I can't even say cardiologist scientist and a doctor come down and take our bloods, and my blood sugar was like bang on, like perfect. It was like 35, I think. Which he was like, oh, that's great. And I was like, didn't know if that'd be the case. And his thing was, the reason it's so good is probably you've got so much muscle. He's like, your body's just chewing through that easily. He's like, maybe if you were having that amount of sugar on a more regular basis and you didn't have any muscle and you didn't exercise, maybe a different story. But the fact that you have got muscle, it's like your body's just making, able to just soak that up and use it as much as possible.
And I think the
Absolutely.
key there as well is it's all moderation to each individual, isn't it? Because if you were eating, I don't know, like processed food at lunch and dinner and an ice cream and a latte and active, that probably still wouldn't counterbalance it.
No.
You've got to look at your life as a whole and see what's right for you.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, absolutely.
And sugar isn't bad as a
Everyone
whole.
is different.
Macronutrient, like sugar in fruits. We actually do really thrive on sugar.
Yeah.
It's just maybe with processed food, you don't realise you're having it. There's a lot of it.
It's hidden.
And it's not necessarily meeting the needs that your body is at the moment.
I think that's the danger. I think people are unaware of how much sugar they're actually eating. That's the thing, because it's hidden in so many different foods. That's the key, I think. So.
I think I've said this before. I was recently in America, and I typically have I have this very similar breakfast. I have 2 pieces of toast, avocado, 6 eggs. You'll love that.
Right.
6 eggs, and I either like beans or some sort of tomatoes. That's like a very typical breakfast for me because I get like 60 grams of protein. When I was in America, I started having the bread, and I was like, "This is sweet." And when I asked the guy in the kitchen, I was like, "How come this is sweet?" And he was like, "What?" He's like, "Do you want me to get the nutrition label?" And I was like, "I've never really done that before," but I was like, "This."
In a restaurant?
Well, it was just like the hotel.
Yeah.
So the guy went and showed me, and there was 4.6 grams of sugar in each slice of bread. And I was like, "That's over a teaspoon." I was like, "Who's putting sugar in bread?"
Well, fun fact, I just got a bread maker actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because I'm unprocessing my life too.
Are you? Fantastic.
Yeah, and I was like, actually, bread is one of the main processed things that I have in the house. And we don't eat a lot of bread, but it never goes mouldy. And I was like, pretty sure this should...
Is it shop bought?
Yeah.
One
This
off
should
the
probably be
shelves?
going mouldy if
Yeah.
I'm going to put it in my body. It's like, it's probably not, in inverted commas, real food if it's not mouldy after 2 weeks. So I'm going to get a bread maker. And you do actually need a little bit of sugar for the yeast.
Okay.
But
you do.
not a teaspoon per slice. Like,
Yeah, that's what
I
I mean,
think
like,
it's like
you
a
could-
teaspoon per loaf.
Yeah, like you could, because I don't typically. Sometimes I'll maybe put some butter on, but sometimes I won't. So when I was just eating the toast, I could taste like you can taste sugar.
sugar.
Yeah, I could taste the
Yeah.
sugar in the bread. And I was
Yeah,
like, I don't know, like I feel like I've looked at every loaf of bread in the shops in the UK. They don't typically have
It doesn't taste like
4.
cake.
Yeah, exactly. That's
Yeah.
probably what it was.
Yeah.
But that's America for you, I think, in
Yeah.
a lot of ways with the food.
I do think they add a lot more sugar.
A hell of a
They
lot more, yeah.
do to
We're
certain
actually really
products.
lucky, with
Yeah.
the UK the EU regulations in terms of food. You can look at ketchup in
Yeah,
the US and
I
ketchup in the
know.
UK, and it's like wild the
saw
amounts of
that.
ingredients.
Yeah.
And it's the same with a lot of different foods and how foods are processed and
it's
everything else. So hopefully, since we have left the EU, we're able to keep these regulations in
Yes.
place.
And
Definitely.
our American team are like, you have a sugar tax? What? But stuff like that I think is a really positive step because it's encouraging businesses to say, do we need to really put that much sugar in?
Oh, definitely.
And it's not all on the consumer then. I do think we should be educated as consumers and we should be reading our labels. But equally, if we can meet in the middle and the food manufacturers are also helping us, and we're educating people and people are starting to take that ownership, hopefully we can get to a better place.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. I think people just need to be more aware of what they're eating and understand, you know, the consequences of that.
Yeah, how it makes you feel
on
as
their
well.
health.
Yeah.
So yes, and it's all about keeping that blood sugar stable. Yeah.
So could you describe, like, you've got 2 sons. How did that go down when you're like, right, sugar's out, like we're
bless them.
deprocessing? Teenage boys probably didn't go down too well,
It's
did it?
very hard to do it with a family, to be honest. You know, they're young boys and, you know, they like their treats and stuff. So it's very tricky. I agree. But I do say now, look, if you know, they're a bit older now, I said, you know, I'm not buying anything like that. So if you want to consume things like that, then you have to buy it yourself. I'm so cruel.
No, I
aren't
think that's fair enough.
I just think I'm not buying it because, you know, the trouble is, when you buy stuff in, it's there, isn't it? And the thing is with sugar, you know, it's very addictive. So it releases the same hormones as
It's serotonin.
heroin
Yeah.
and cocaine. It's very, very addictive. So, you know, and once you start opening a packet of biscuits, it's very hard not to eat the whole pack. Because,
yeah.
you know, I just think having that kind of food there is just tempting to finish it off and eat the whole thing. So yeah, I just don't buy it.
Yeah.
For me, I've got self-control. It wouldn't bother me if the packet of biscuits were there, but for them, I can just see them, you know, in there. And
Especially teenage boys, because they are just
gosh,
like an endless
yes.
pit. I mean, my 2-year-old already eats like the same amount as me. I am terrified of my food shop when he's 12. He's just going to eat and
my
eat and eat and eat and
goodness.
eat.
Well, luckily my boys are quite healthy, and but for us it's chicken and eggs. I mean, the
Go through
eggs.
loads of chicken.
It's just
You actually do need to buy some chickens.
it's really expensive. Yeah, the eggs. Oh my
But I do.
goodness me.
I have had many clients before who have had like mum guilt of doing what you've just described and saying, "Oh, it's really unfair on the kids to take away all the food they love." So how did you kind of have that conversation with them? And did you have that feeling of like, "Oh, am I being mean? Am I being a bad mum?"
No, I don't think I'm being bad at all. Probably very extreme, but I just think I would rather not have it there. And I just think for them, the temptation has gone. So I just say to them, no, if you want to buy it, you buy it yourself. I'm not going to buy it for you. But my kids are older, aren't they? It's very hard when they're little, isn't it? It's very hard. But I think one key is not to have it in the house, because I think it's so tempting for people to just dip in and, you know, and have it when it's there and it's so accessible. So I think, you know, if you can just make it a treat even, and just say, right, I'm going to buy that bar of chocolate and I'm going to eat it.
Yeah,
And
as an
I'm not
intentional
going to,
choice.
Yeah, I'm going to have it. So it's Saturday night, I want to watch a movie, you know, I'm going to buy a packet of minstrels or whatever, but then I'm going to eat them all and then that's it, they've gone. So it's not hanging around in the cupboard.
So it
and you
doesn't end up
haven't
a
bought
mindless
masses
snack.
of it, that it's there for the whole week. So I think, one point that may help people is to think, right, it's and it is a treat. Treat it as a treat, you know.
As
'Cause
opposed to like something you just have
there's not
ad
much
hoc.
nutrition in it. So, you know, what's it doing for your body? So, you know, just think, right, I'm going to go out, it's Saturday night, I want to watch a movie and get some treats in, eat them, and then that's it. They're not in the house then for the rest of the week, and I'm done.
Yeah. One thing that I've always kind of coached women through that had like younger kids, teenage kids as well, is, you know, you're making this change for yourself because you know it's healthier for you. So when you are making that change on behalf of the family, it's not something to feel guilty about, because
No.
you're actually giving them better nutrition as well, and showing them like, this is the choice that we're making as a family because it is better for your health. It fuels you better. You'll have more energy. And explaining to them is actually really helpful to not only get the family on board, but also to allay that mum guilt of, oh, but when they go to their kid's house, there's a treat drawer and they can just go and get something whenever they want. Why don't we have that at our house, mum? And I think there is that comparison otherwise. And if you've got kids that are old enough to understand, explaining is really helpful.
Oh, definitely. Yes. Yeah, my kids listen. I'm lucky enough that they listen. So, yes, I do explain all of that to them. So, yeah, and that's my reasons behind not buying it for them. So, yeah, they do understand.
Have you opted for anything else sweet then? So, like, do you use fruit or fruit and yogurt or a bit of honey? Is there anything that do you have a sweet tooth?
Do you know what? Once you stop eating it, you don't really crave it in any way. I do believe that eating sugar craves sugar. So, once I eliminated it from my diet, I actually don't crave it at all. So I don't have anything sweet. I guess the sweetest thing that I have is probably dates. So
they are so sweet.
So sweet.
Yeah.
For me now, eating a date, I'm just like, wow, that is really sweet. Anything like, but yeah, I don't have honey. I don't have maple syrup. I don't have things like that either. The only sugar I have really is in fruit and dairy products, and that's it. So, and dates, but I don't eat a lot of those. But I do like the medjool dates. They're beautiful, aren't they?
They're like toffee.
They're gorgeous.
Yeah.
So I haven't that's really.
It typically takes about 6 to 8 weeks for your palate to change. So if you do cut certain foods out for a certain period of time, like 6 to 8 weeks, your palate does change, and you actually, like you said, get used to it. You stop actually missing those certain types of foods, and then you do find if somebody does give you something that maybe you're not used to, you're like, whoa, it really feels strong.
Yes.
I always find that if someone, say I get like a Coke Zero or something, and someone gives you like a normal glass of Coke, and you taste it straight away, and you feel like you get like a film of sugar round your teeth, and you're like, nope, no thanks, because it's like
I find that with cake actually often. I think, oh, that looks yummy, and I order it, and I'm like, oh, I can have 2 or 3 mouthfuls, and then I want to pass it on to someone else. Yeah. Because you do just get used to it.
You do. Absolutely. Yeah. And then sometimes, when you're out for dinner, sometimes you can't, sometimes it just creeps in, and you can't help it.
I feel like you've got a second gut for dessert. That's what it is. You know what I mean? It is, isn't it? You've got it's like there is always room for ice cream sort of thing. Like you can eat till you're quite full, and then someone puts like a dessert in front of you or an ice cream, and it's like, well, there's a bit more room. You know what I mean?
But sometimes if you go out for dinner, you don't deliberately have a dessert, but sometimes it might have been added to an ingredient of some sort in the main dish, but it's interesting because I can recognise it straight away, whether it's been put in straight away. I can taste it, but not only that, I can feel the reaction in my body. It's strange.
So if someone's listening to this though, and they are, like I said at the beginning of the episode, they're maybe feeling a bit stuck in a rut, they don't know where to start, and they're listening to us saying, "Well, Annie doesn't even have honey in her house."
Oh gosh,
are they like,
boring am
oh
I?
my God, how do I even go from where I am now to that? Like, what would you say to that person?
Gosh, I mean, I think I am quite extreme, but I guess there's 2 ways of dealing with it. I'm very all or nothing, so I'm not very good at just cutting down. I never have been, so I'm just like, right, that's it, boom. But I've got a couple of clients who've done the same lately, and they're like, wow, I can't believe how I feel. This is amazing. I've just stopped. So, I think you'd either just go all or nothing, or if you're really disciplined, then just try and cut down, just try and cut down your sugar consumption gradually, and see how that reacts on your body and see how you feel. And then hopefully, the way they feel, will encourage them to keep doing it. So, yes.
I think it comes down to self-awareness, doesn't it? Because some people, it is easier to have that set rule of this is what I'm committing to, and then for other people, it's like that's too much. So the barrier to entry feels too much, and the smaller steps over time that feel easier to take can have a positive impact on lifestyle change. But I think that ultimately does come down to being self-aware to know, like you said, this works for you and you prefer to have it that way, and then for other people, there's another balance to it as well.
And I think it's interesting you mentioned that you're quite an all or nothing person, because a lot of our clients are all or nothing personalities. But the thing that really bites is when you're an all or nothing person and you make that rule and then you break it, you beat yourself up big time.
Yeah.
And so a lot of our clients, I would say the majority, we actually encourage them to try and find the middle ground so that you're not like, I made a rule for myself and I broke it. I'm such a bad person. I keep failing. Actually, finding a middle ground where you can be at peace with the fact that, you know, I'm going to have a bag of chocolate once a week. And that's part of my intention and that's part of my plan. It takes away the shame and the feeling of failure. So I think there's definitely different ways, even for the same kind of, in inverted commas, personality trait, you can still tackle that in a different way. And especially if you've tried 100 things before and you feel like, oh, all I ever do is try something new and fail at it. Maybe not trying to be so hardcore could be the way to see success. And it sounds a bit counterintuitive because it feels like a lot of things you need to go to the extreme to get results. But as we said with the exercise, it doesn't need to be extreme to see progress.
To see results, definitely. And you have to do what works for you. You really do. Everyone is different. Everyone. So but with the sugar, you know, I can recommend is just sort of not buying it in bulk and having it hanging around the house. I think that's one big tip. And if you do want a treat of the weekend, then just make it a treat of the weekend and then eat it and then it's gone. It's not hanging around because that's where the temptation is.
And it's mindless eating, isn't it then? It's not like an intent. It's just you find yourself opening the cupboard. Oh, yeah, that sounds good. And
and if it's there, you're not going to go there and think, oh no, I've got to eat some spinach instead. You know? You're not going to think, oh God, you know, it's just a battle, isn't it?
Yeah, it does take the battle out of it.
Take away that temptation and just not have it there.
Yeah. Actually, that's what we say often is, you know, create your environment to make your journey easy.
Definitely.
Don't put obstacles in your own way.
Definitely. It really helps. Set yourself up, you know, and that's why it's good to do cooking as well. You know, I love prepping on a Sunday. So for the week, you know, for the nutrition for the week. So, you know, do like a big roasted kind of vegetable dish and just keep that in the fridge. So that for my healthy salad every lunchtime, I'm not chopping and, you know, baking. And I just literally go to the fridge and I have a big, you know, handful of that, chuck it on my leaves, get my can out of tuna and, you know, and it's easy. And I think it's all about making your life easy and accessible for healthy choices. You know, and that's the key, really.
Yeah, it is the key because then it's your default. It doesn't matter how busy you get or how uncomfortable things get in your life. Your default is just to be a healthy person. So it doesn't matter when these inevitable things happen in your life. Your default is to just keep doing what you're already doing because you've set yourself up for success.
Yeah, make it easy for yourself, you know, and do a little preparation every Sunday. I do that, you know, and it's there for the week then, you know. So it's accessible for you. So you go to the fridge and you don't end up, you know, doing a head scratch and thinking, what am I going to eat? I'll just have a lump of cheese.
You just grab, you
know, and, you know, so you've got access to healthy food when you want it and it's on tap. Because everyone lives life so fast, you know, so that's the key. Yeah. Make it easy for yourself.
I've got some quick fire questions for you, Annie.
Oh, gosh. Go on, then. Okay. Not pop related or sport.
Mastermind. So, what has been your proudest moment over your fitness journey?
Oh, gosh. Oh, well, running my classes and just benefiting so many people's lives and the feedback I get from my clients and the wonderful comments that they make. And I think for me, just realising that I can make a difference to people's lives, you know, it's just so rewarding. I can't tell you how rewarding it is. It's just wonderful, you know, and people come to me and they think, well, you've changed my life for the better. You know, I mean, what could be more positive than that?
Yeah, we 100% agree.
Yeah,
it's fantastic.
What's been your biggest struggle that you faced along your journey?
My biggest struggle, I guess it's time, isn't it? Time is, for me, I would love to put on more classes and, you know, and serve people more, really. But I guess it's time. And for me, I'm 53 and I do get tired. I've noticed that, yes, I am aging and I do get tired no matter how fit I am and how well I keep myself. I am tired, and I sort of regret that maybe I should have started this journey a lot younger.
So many people say that.
Yeah, I wish I had started this personal training people and doing classes a lot younger, I guess. Yeah, that's a hurdle that I should have kind of thought about.
Yeah.
And yeah, so.
What are your personal goals for your health and fitness at the moment?
My personal goals, I just want to keep carrying on doing what I'm doing and enjoying my fitness and my nutrition and learning. I just love learning. I mean, the wonderful thing about, I love Instagram. I think it's just fabulous because look where I am today. I've got to meet you amazing people. It's just incredible. I think it's an incredible platform if it's used wisely, and reaching out. The posts that I do, I have so many positive comments from people. Now it's not localised. I'm spreading the word all over the place. It's just incredible. I love it. So I just want to carry on doing what I'm doing and hoping that I can influence people's lives and, for the better, really.
Yeah.
Yeah. So...
Oh, I'd say you definitely are as well, and it's an inspiration to a lot of women to break that sort of narrative or stereotype of like you should get old and frail and you can't be lifting weights and lifting heavy, and instead it's like, oh no, like here I am lifting weights, strong, feeling good, having energy. It's breaking that sort of societal norm, which is extremely inspirational.
I just want to be that inspiration. I want to show them, because I am the real deal, because I won't post anything that I haven't done myself. What you see is what you get. I'm trained myself and I fuel myself with the nutrition that I post about all the time. So everything I post is so truthful. It's all true. It's all what I do, and that's the key. I want to just inspire others to not give up when they reach their 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s. You're never too old to start doing some exercise and moving your body and fueling your body correctly, and you're never too old. My wonderful client who was 70 a few weeks ago, he's been training with me now for over a year, and he's, doing weights. He only comes once a week, but, I've given him some homework, so he does a little bit at home and he goes for walks and stuff, but he does strength training when he comes to me, and then we do some boxing at the end, which is hilarious. It's so fun. But yeah, he's amazing. And, the stats that he's got there, that he went for his medical the other day, his body fat's down 1%, blood pressure is down, his cardiovascular risk is down, heart age is down from 69 now to 62.
Wow.
His waist has been reduced by 4 centimetres.
And this is all one session a week?
He comes to me 1 hour a week. Yeah.
That's
and
amazing.
He does weights. He does weight training. It's just, the stats are there, and he's been coming to me for over a year. But yeah, it's just so beneficial. Don't ever give up, and he's 70. So
it is never too late.
No, it's never too late.
But I wonder if you could say anything to, let's say, you in your 30s to get you to start sooner, because you did say, I wish I'd started sooner. What would have landed for you in your 30s to actually make you switch fire maybe a bit sooner?
Well, I spent so many years. I guess I spent probably about 30 years of like trying different exercises and different diets and stuff like that. So, if I was to talk to my younger self, what would I say? I'd say don't worry about trying to eat less. You need to fuel yourself with the right nutrition. So you need to eat more protein. You need to eat the right nutrition, your veggies and, your whole grains, and try and eat nutritional food. Fuel yourself right. And lift some weights.
Do you think she would have listened?
Oh, I don't know. At that age, you think you're immortal, don't you? That's the thing. You kind of think, you know, you just go along thinking everything's going to be all right. But I guess as you get older, you kind of, you know, you mature a bit, don't you? And you think,
and you're
crikey.
exposed to maybe family members getting ill or friends.
Oh gosh, yes,
Definitely. I've noticed, you know, as I've got to my late 30s, we're starting to have friends dying of cancer, and it isn't a thing in your life really before that, is it? It's
not really.
As you age, you start to realise, hey, actually, these people are just like me. That could happen to me.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you become more aware of things, definitely. You know, I lost my brother recently, so that was sad. But he, you know, he was 63, and but he never really sort of looked after himself, bless him. And, you know, yeah, you do become more aware of illness and, you know, and how it can affect you as you get older and the risks.
Yeah,
you do.
So I guess it's taking more ownership of your own health early on.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And if anybody wants to find you on Instagram and come and be inspired on a more regular basis, where can they find you?
Oh, it's Annie's Fitness Stenin, so that's my Instagram name. So
we'll link it on the podcast notes,
Yep.
so that people, because I think a lot of our American listeners won't know how to find Stenning.
But yeah, my Instagram name is Annie's Fitness Stenin, and it's STEYNING.
Yeah,
so
we'll put the link
all
on.
one word. Yeah.
Fab.
Amazing.
Well, thanks so much for coming and sharing your story. It's been so lovely to
pleasure.
hear, you know, just a real person's journey, and it isn't all about absolutely destroying yourself in the gym.
No, you don't need to.
Yeah.
You really don't. Yeah.
So thanks so much for making the trip.
Thanks,
it's a
Annie.
pleasure. It's been lovely meeting you. Thank you.
If you enjoyed Annie's inspiring story, then check out episode 74. We're joined by Elise Rose Stanier, who shared her amazing journey of losing 87 pounds and finally finding her confidence.